Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this beautiful world. This is More Than Just Task Management, your favorite daily podcast where we help you build a thriving business with me, Anna Angelova, business coach and consultant, and my co-host, Jores Minasvand. Hey, Jores, happy Saturday.
Hey Anna, happy Saturday.
It's Saturday. And if you are a regular listener, you know that today we wrap up the week by sharing what we talked about the past 5 days, Monday to Friday. Like we share all the topics, and this way we give you a chance to hear what our conversations were all about, what the main takeaway is. And if you missed any of these conversations, you get a chance to decide, do you want to go back and listen to this episode, or is the main insight enough? And if you've already listened to this episode, you get to hear some of the things again, and this way you get to remember more. So, without further ado, we started the week by talking about the systems that break first when your business starts to grow fast, like when you go get one of those scaling moments. And we all love to have this problem. We all die to be like, oh yes, I want to see sales skyrocket, clients, and all these kind of things. And ultimately, my biggest takeaway from that conversation, and we've had this conversation, similar conversations before, and this is something we've mentioned before as well, and I do want to repeat it again, is like when you're planning for expansion, for growth, when you're looking to fix your bottleneck, identify the impact downstream and also for the whole system, like the supporting parts as well. So you can see what will happen once your bottleneck is fixed. So for me, this is one of the biggest things because let's say, and we mentioned this on Monday, let's say your problem is with like sales, you're not converting enough people. Suddenly you fix this. Like you start your conversions go from like 10% to 50%. So you suddenly now it's like 5 times. What's going on with the delivery part, your operations? Can you handle this? Can you deliver this? So for me, this is the biggest takeaway from the conversation on Monday. When you're looking to fix things, when you're looking to grow and scale, look at the whole flow, look at how things are, what's the bottleneck, and then what will happen if you open it? If you 2x it, 10x it, 100x it, what will happen? Joris, I'm curious to hear your takeaway from the conversation on Monday.
I think you pretty much covered it. That was it. Like, look at it from a holistic systems view. Don't look at an individual bottleneck and say, I'm going to solve this. And I used an example of a customer that I had. It's going to cause other problems. But if you look at your entire end-to-end system and look at downstream systems, how they're going to get affected. If you triple yourself, do you have the warehouse to ship the product? Have you talked to your suppliers to give you enough product? Is there a balance between your accounts payable and accounts receivable, where you have money to pay your suppliers for supplies? So all of these you need to think about before you go find a way to triple your business or multiply it by 200. So yeah, you need to look at it from a systems perspective. Don't solve one problem and create four more for myself. Some of them will be detrimental to your brand, and you may never recover.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So if you missed this episode and you are planning to grow, like you're looking into that kind of a growth spurt, definitely go back and listen to our conversation from Monday, which was August 4th. Yes, it was August 4th. Then Tuesday, we switched gears a little bit and we talked about a topic that is not as sexy as some other topics. And it was all about protecting client data from day one. And I would say one of the biggest things from that conversation is the fact that alongside with the technological advances that we're seeing, like what we have at our fingertips right now, like hackers have the same thing as well. They're evolving as well. And a lot of people are thinking, oh, I'm too small to be attacked by these kind of things. Whether it's phishing, whether it's some kind of the denial of service. What was this one?
Denial of service. They hijacked the website. Yeah.
Yeah. They're hijacking websites and things like this. Like they're constantly looking for weak spots. They're constantly looking for the weakest link. They're constantly looking to find ways. I did mentioned on Tuesday when we talked about it. I mentioned I saw an article about it. Not a big company, like not a corporation or anything, like a medium-sized probably company in UK. That they got hijacked and there was a ransom demand for like 10 million or something like this. And I think the company ultimately closed doors. So, and again, we did mention this on Tuesday that it's not to scare you, but these not sexy conversations are important. And how you protect your client data, it starts from day one with you, and then like people, and then the processes you put in, and of course, technology as well.
And one other thing that between Tuesday and today, we had a session yesterday about AI. It also becomes very important. Be careful with what you put in AI. Your customer data, your intellectual property, protect it against AI. Don't use the public versions if you don't want your data to be available and your intellectual property. Protect yourself and your customers.
Absolutely. This is another great part from that conversation. And I do think, again, although it's not as, might not sound as interesting, I would highly recommend, whether you're just starting or you have an established business, highly recommend go and listen to that episode. It was Tuesday, August 5th. Go and listen to that episode and hear more about it. This might be your sign to start taking some of these things more seriously. And once you're done listening to this episode from Tuesday, Wednesday, we talked about uh, signs that someone on your team might be ready for a management position. Like what you can look for and how you can identify those superstars you have. And Joris mentioned quite a few things of how to identify people, and from his recent experience, and even seeing that people sometimes hit a ceiling. Uh, and what I want to reemphasize one more time is that not every person is supposed to move up the ladder and start managing people. And unfortunately, in the corporate world, it's something that happens more often than not, where people who are not supposed to be managers, they become managers just because they've been with the company for a decade and now it's their turn. So find ways for your superstars who are actually not willing, they don't want to be managers, they don't even have the attitude or the skills and capabilities to be managers. Find ways to reward them in a different way. They can be superstars at what they do. Let's say you have an amazing salesperson. This person is amazing, like bringing sales and constantly improving and all these kind of things, but it's not a manager material. Don't make him or her become a manager. Reward the performance as a salesperson and find the people who actually are meant to be managers. So this is my insight from that conversation. And as usual, I'm curious to hear your insight, Joris.
I think what we talked about, as I remember it, emphasized on the keyword enablement. When you find that person, you then enable them and then teach them how to enable others. It's if you only train one manager, that manager can only manage a certain number of people. But if that you enable that manager to enable other managers, and you're going to end up growing like exponentially. So find the right person. And I think the other one that we talked about, how to identify a person. For someone to be able to manage others, the first thing that they need to do is manage themselves. So identify people who are organized, who manage themselves, despite of how much you put on their plate, they always have 50% time for free. And then those are the people who you, again, that doesn't, may not mean they're managers, but they're the ones that have potential. And under the right program with the right backing and right performance enablement, uh, they will uh, they will rise, they will grow. And then the other one was, don't just throw them into one of these online crappy management courses where they teach you how to do team building games. That's not how you build a manager. Those are for corporations to save tax money and put a check mark on what they what they did for their employees and their workforce, and that's it. So as a small to medium business, identify the people that are organized, start trusting them, enable them, and then you'll be surprised.
And again, if you missed this episode, it's out there. It was from August 6th, Wednesday. So go and listen to it, the episode. There were a lot of other things we mentioned in there. So highly recommend, especially if you have a team, right? Especially if you have a team and you're growing your team, go and listen to that episode. It was full of a lot of insights. Which brings us to Thursday. When we talked about fixed prices, like a fixed package, having some kind of a fixed package with a fixed price versus custom pricing, like for different clients, like you ultimately have different price depending on scope and all these kind of things. So how do you decide between these, right? Like how do you, especially when you are starting, like do you go one way or the other? And I would say the if you are just starting, and this is the main lesson from that conversation for me. If you're just starting, lean on the custom pricing because it allows you to learn more. It allows you to take on different scope and see, also work with different type of people and see like who are your ideal clients, because like for the same problem different people might be willing to spend way different. Like someone might be willing to spend. I think it was actually in the Running Lean book. Like the example there, and again, we would all love to have these kind of examples, but like the example there was that with the idea that the fictional character had there, like freelancers or developers would pay $50 a month for his solution, and then architects were willing to pay 2,000 a month for his solution. So it's like solving kind of like the same solution that he has, but because he found a problem that's so urgent and so important for one group of people, like he was actually able to uh, make things work. So by being open to like, having those conversations and doing the work, especially in the beginning, doing the work for the different segments and having custom price, a custom scope, it you get to learn more. You get to see who are your ideal clients. So, and your ideal clients, like it's the people you love working with, the ones that get the most value from you, and of course the ones that I wouldn't say pay the most, because the thing is that the ones who pay the most might be, sorry to say this, but pain in the ass. So they might not be the ones who are willing to pay the most, but they're the ones who are willing to pay enough for your business to make sense. So this is the biggest thing from my point of view from the conversation we had on Thursday. And now I'm wondering, yeah, Joris, I think you were already unmuting yourself.
Yeah, and one of the things that we mentioned was don't hesitate to ask. There are two types of customers. Customers who want to know they are risk averse and they want to know exactly what they're going to pay for what they're going to get. And for that, you give them a fixed price and always put 20%, 25% contingency there. Make sure you have a proper scope and what's not in scope for that. and then go ahead with fixed price. There are customers who actually they like the time and material model because they're saying, oh, even if this is $170,000, but if we work faster, if I can enable this supplier to deliver this solution faster, I can end it with 150,000, and that's not a problem because 100%, not even 99%. Now, 100% of the time, the customer will say, oh, now that we have 20,000 left over, let's use it for enhancements. So they will end up spending the same $170,000. It's just that you'll just get bigger value and you hook them for a client for life. So ask the client, what's your preference? My other experience would be small project, like a pilot or a proof of concept, will fix price anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. Anything bigger, larger project, go time and material.
Love your insights for this one. So this was Thursday, which would be August 7th. And it brings us to the conversation from yesterday. And yesterday, it was that hot, 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 sexy topic that Joris, you love it so, so much.
Oh, yes.
So what's your biggest takeaway? Let's start with your biggest takeaway. Yesterday, so the episode yesterday was all about using AI, so-called AI, without replacing the human touch.
Well, I jokingly said, don't use it, but actually, it's not true. Like you mentioned, we use it. I use it. Um, use it for automating the mundane. Don't use it to replace your creative part. How AI will end humanity is that it will take away our individuality. And in 20 years, not even 20 years, like you mentioned, we already seen this, already see articles on social media, newspapers. I haven't read a lot of books lately, but there are probably people writing books with AI, which is going to
With
be a
AI,
disaster.
AI. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's uh, don't use your creative part. Don't use it to replace your creativity, your individuality. Use it to automate the mundane. I think we used an example of a help desk that has 75 people globally who are all unionized and don't want to do any work. Well, easily you can cut that into 3 people and have chatbots, answer the questions and route tickets. So, and as a person that are on the receiving side of it, make sure that you have some kind of a creativity so you don't get replaced by AI. So automate the mundane, and even for the creative part, if you really know how to use it, it can help your creative parts.
All of these are valid points. And if you missed the episode from yesterday, go and listen to it. We ranted a little bit because we're both not exactly like we're using this. We're both not exactly huge fans. I would say biggest takeaway from me, or the biggest thing that I want to uh, repeat and share again is that choose by start thinking yourself, right? Like, use your own faculties, your own thinking, your own reasoning. There are use cases, and I loved the example you shared, Jores, so well put with like when you use a hammer to like to put a nail on the wall. Yes, awesome, this is what it is for. But when you use a hammer to break a hazelnut or whatever it was, you probably crush it. So there are use cases for all those so-called AI tools, for those LLMs. There are use cases that really allow you to use it and not get and not have human touch suffer. And I did mention it at the end of the conversation, so listen to the whole thing. But use the opposable mind, the idea, like you hold these ideas together. AI, automation, and then on the other side you have so AI automation. This is on one side, and on the other side you have human touch. How can this coexist to create a business that thrives, to create an environment where it's both within the business, your team, you, it starts actually with you, your team, your customers, and everyone actually has an amazing experience. So this is, for me, this is the biggest thing I want to repeat one more time. And if you missed the episode, listen to it. The weekend is a perfect time to catch up on the past episodes from the last 5 days. So you can work on your business in a bit of a different way by hearing us share some of these insights and getting some ideas, hopefully.
Another beautiful week.
Yeah, the first full week of August. It was a short week here in Ontario with that civic holiday on Monday. Um, and yeah, it's another week of amazing conversations. I really enjoy these conversations, and I don't know, Joris, you enjoy them as much as I do, and sometimes even more. And we will be back tomorrow with kicking off the new week where we share what's coming up ahead. So go enjoy your Saturdays, take some time off to relax and even do nothing if you're this type of person. And if you have not subscribed yet, subscribe so you don't miss any of our episodes. And tune in tomorrow to find out what's coming up in the next week.
Thank you, Anna.
Thanks,
Enjoy
Doris.
your Saturday. Bye bye.